Hey everyone, it's Lisa Derby Oden, MassMEP Project Development Coordinator, and I'm here doing an employee highlight today with Hayley Steele. So Hayley, I would love to introduce you to everybody, but could you share with us what your role is at MassMEP?
Absolutely, Lisa. So I'm the marketing coordinator with MassMEP.
So I know you say that like everybody knows what a marketing coordinator does, right? Can you give us some of the details on that? Some of the insight into what really goes on a day-to-day basis?
I can. The marketing coordinator, I would deem it as it's a role of putting a lot of the smaller pieces together for the full marketing message that we put out at MassMEP. So if it's anything in regards to helping our field staff and what they're doing out with clients, and even doing touch points with clients, working with some training options that are available. We have a small business direct access program that we run. And obviously your basic marketing stuff, which is email blasts, social media, the vlogs that you are so professional at now, and doing our podcast, and just kind of making sure that we as MassMEP, we stay relevant, obviously in the current temperature that we're in, and always, moving forward.
Great. I think that helps people understand a lot more about the totality of what you do. I'm kind of curious. You've been with MEP, since maybe September-ish last year? So yeah. I guess I'm kind of wondering how you found your way to MassMEP.
Yeah, so obviously, I'm not obviously, because people don't know this, but I'm not originally from Massachusetts. I'm actually from a completely different area. We move around quite a bit, but on our last move, we moved from Kentucky and moved to Massachusetts. And over time, I left my previous job. I was with a manufacturer, and I was home for a little while to get my children adjusted and settled, and then reached a certain point where I knew I needed to go back to work. I wanted to be able to do stuff like this and be able to communicate with my peers, and I knew it was time. So I just started doing a little bit of research, and locally in our town, I had been involved and did some volunteer work, and I knew an individual, and I saw a name that came across on a was it a LinkedIn post? I think it was a LinkedIn post. And I thought, I know that name. And so I thought, let me just reach out and apply for a job. And one thing led to another. And fortunately, I ended up in the position. So I couldn't be more thankful for those that have put me here and allow me to do what I do every single day. So that's how I found it. So it was nice. It was a great opportunity. I just needed to get my foot in the door because it was a long process.
I know that the whole hiring process can be a lengthy one and that kind of thing. But hey, I'm always curious about what people's career paths have been. Like, what did you do all the way from starting with, like, where'd you go to school? What do you have your degrees in? And then, what were the next steps after that? How'd you find your way to marketing, and then subsequently that makes it to MassMEP, which you've shared already. But
yeah, so what's funny is when I was in high school, I always wanted to be an athletic trainer. So I went to college at the University of Pittsburgh, and I thought, this is great, I'll be a trainer, and best laid plans, right? So they say. And it didn't happen. So at the age of 20, I thought, this is it. I don't know what I'm going to do. I have no idea, no direction. Little short-sighted, to say the least. So I made some adjustments and moved home. I finished my degree at Bloomsburg University. I got my degree in business administration. So I had my bachelor's in that. And my primary focus was marketing. I was in the business department, and the dean of marketing, I just really took a shining to, and I thought, this is really cool. There were so many different realms of marketing that I could get into, which kind of led me through my path moving forward. I worked in a mortgage company. I was a marketing director for them. And then at one point I went into shopping center development. So I was a marketing director at a couple of different malls. And these are all in different places, never really stayed in the same place because we've moved pretty frequently. Then I got into the publishing world, and that was really cool. I really was exposed to how grammarly incorrect I had been for quite a long time. So
I wonder if that's a grammarly correct statement.
exactly. And I'm sure if any of my previous coworkers from that company were to listen to this, they'd probably be like, oh no, we had to put that in writing. That's a ton of mistakes already. So it was great. That was a lot of fun. It was a cool industry to be in. And we were in the trades industry. So I wasn't in like a fashion magazine or anything, like super glamorous. But for those that were in that industry, it was glamorous. It was a big deal. It was important information for them to have on a daily basis. And then I got into the manufacturing world, and which is kind of how I got into this, knowing with what MassMEP does and having that manufacturing background, it helped a lot. Gives me a little bit different perspective on things too. So that was kind of my path, and that's been over 20 years.
Excellent. Thank you so much. That's a great backstory there, Hayley.
Yeah.
So I'd like to learn a little bit more about you. And in saying that, I guess I'd like to know, like, what is your passion professionally and personally? We have the things that actually kind of light us on fire at work. And then outside of work, there are the things that really light us on fire, and they can be totally distinct things. So what is it for Hayley Steele?
Honestly, I think I learned this a long time ago, probably when I got into the publishing world. And passion for me is it's communication, and it's being able to share and making sure everybody understands what's happening, why it happens the way it does. And it allows us then to be able to be a good brand representation for the company that we work for. And it doesn't matter, what part of what company you're in, but when I'm out and if I have a MassMEP logo on, I want to be able to stand behind that brand and represent it the best way I possibly can. And I think it's important for everybody else to be the same way. So communicating with everybody and what we do and who we are and all the options that we have to offer, it's extremely important. They always say, somebody made a quote the other day, it was Darcy Cook. And I think she said something along the lines of, why I hire people that are smarter than me, because if I wouldn't, I would just do their job. And that was something else I kind of learned. I never really understood that, I think, when I was younger, but then as I got older, I got the perspective of it and totally understood it. So now I get why certain people are in certain positions and do certain jobs, but knowing that we can communicate amongst each other is extremely important. And it's funny because I say over communicating is so important in work, but for some reason, I don't know if I do that so well at home. Which is, it's one of those things. It's probably my family is the most important thing to me. And again, that's another thing. So I think it's one of those things that I learned, obviously now as an adult, but as a teenager, wasn't something that, family, it was kind of like, oh, it's family, my parents, I want to go to college and be far away. And now I have 3 daughters, 2 that are 16 months apart. One's going to college, maybe not, we don't know, because of what we're going through today. And the other is going to be a senior in high school. And then I have one that's a 6th grader. So I learned how important family was. And in moving through time, we move a lot because of my husband for his work. And so in moving and getting farther away and understanding and appreciating our parents and knowing what they sacrificed for us and gave to us, and now it's our turn to do the same back for them. So my family is super important to us. And sports, I'm a big sports fan. I won't say what teams I love because I'm obviously not from Massachusetts. I will say though, I am a Boston Celtics fan, huge Celtics fan, probably because of my husband. He's a big Celtics fan. So and I love sports. So because I love sports and I was an athlete throughout high school and college, I love coaching. So it's another one of my really big passions. And it's teaching, and it's, having the reward of seeing a child look at you and get something and be so proud of themselves. You can't replace that with anything. It's really a really awesome feeling. And it's so, you look at somebody and when they look back at you and they just are so appreciative for what you've done for them, it's pretty awesome. It's a pretty awesome, feeling to have. So yeah, definitely it's my family and sports, and coaching is really what's important to me. I'm not sure what order I would put them in though, so don't ask me to do that because it might offend somebody in my family.
Fair enough.
It might
Will not
actually,
ask.
I know, it might actually be in a really awkward order, and people might not think, they might think a little less of me at the end of this.
Well, hey, it's been great chatting with you here today. I do have one final this is sort of like a brain teaser for the people that are listening,
Okay.
or kind of a fun thing about, can you tell us 3 different things about yourself, 2 that are real and 1 that's made up, and then we're going to, guess outside of this recording on our own which one is the one that's not real.
Okay. All right. Okay. So 2 truths and a lie, right?
Yep.
All right. Let's see. Okay. I was not born in the U.S. I have owned 7 houses, and I played field hockey in the Keystone State Games, which is in Pennsylvania. And I'm not going to tell you the year because it might age me a little bit. So, I wasn't born in the U.S. I have owned 7 houses, and I play field hockey in the Keystone State Games.
Okay, those are a good 3. I will be curious to hear what people chime in and think the answer is. So Thanks so much, Hayley, for sharing more about yourself here in today's little video clip. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, absolutely, Lisa. I appreciate it. It's a little odd being on this side of the microphone, but it's good to have a great interviewer too. So makes for a much more relaxed environment this way.
All righty, thanks. Have a great one.
Lisa. You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.